The Centre for Chinese Contemporary Art is 32 years old this year, so we have over 30 years experience of working with and in China. So that involves several research trips a year, so we're well versed and kind of knowledgeable about China, and it didn't surprise us at all on the visit that we took part in during the curatorial process. So for many of the UK partners, though, this is the first time they might have worked with China, and during the research trip that we delivered as part of the project that was managed by CAFA for us, that was maybe the first time that many of those curators had ever been to Beijing. So there was a huge kind of culture shock, I would say, and they were really mesmerised and taken aback, I guess, by the scale of the city, but also the wealth of the arts and cultural institutions there and the quality of the artists' work. So the British Council were integral in the development of the project at the early stages. So they were the institution that really suggested that we should apply for the China National Arts Fund and go ahead with some form of collaborative project with the Chinese partners. So, yeah, they were integral at that position. So with regards to CAFA, they helped us to plan that trip and have been really integral in this whole process in helping us to not only develop the ideas, but also in the practical delivery of the project. Not only have they been integral to the planning and delivery of the work in a practical way, so in the shipping and the preparations for the show, they've also been fantastic in helping us to liaise with the artists and provide that kind of one-on-one support to us, especially where translation and other things like that have needed to be put in place. I think in the history of modern and contemporary Chinese art, women have long been at the edges of the art historical debate and really positioned at the fringes. I think more recently, in the 1990s, the movement called women's art positioned them slightly differently and provided them with a voice, but it was still very marginalised by gender categorisation, so positioning them within ideas of femininity and feminism. But I think more recently, in contemporary art, at least over the last few years, there's a real energy and vibrancy in women's practice at the moment in China. And I think they're really pushing the boundaries of what gender categorisation means and what the limitations of that are. And the Now exhibition is really here to reopen that debate and the dialogue on how women artists are positioning themselves in China now. Now exhibitions are a really important opportunity for the artists. So many of the artists that we're showing across all the venues and through the film programme as well haven't shown in the UK before. They may have not even shown outside of China before. And the exhibitions also include several new commissions, especially at the CFCCA site. So it's a fantastic opportunity for those artists to develop their practice within an international platform. And that's really key to CFCCA's ethos, is to support emerging artists and emerging talent. The Now exhibition is also very important for UK-China relations and sort of developing stronger relations between the two geographical areas of the world, and for also the UK arts ecology. Bringing strong international work into the UK can only enhance artist practice locally. So, Centre for Chinese Contemporary Art is the national lead in supporting UK audiences to understand Chinese culture and art generally. So we have a long-term commitment going forwards to work with partners in China, and CAFA will remain a very strong partner of ours going forwards, and we've already built a good relationship with them over the last, I would say, 10 years. For, I think, the other UK partners who may not have worked in China before, I think there was a hesitancy maybe in how to make that happen and make it work. And I think off the back of this project, they've now developed some really strong partnerships and connections which will help them to kind of deliver future projects going forwards. CFCCA obviously has over 30 years experience of working in China, but it's still very complex working at such a geographical distance, and I know for many of the other UK partner venues this was a challenge at various points. So not only are we talking about time difference, but also language barriers and a very different approach to working practices as well. So it was a challenge, I guess, for us to work together to overcome some of those obstacles, but we really feel that, yeah, we made great progress in that. And just making slight tweaks and amends to the ways we might work, for example, having earlier morning conversations than maybe throughout the middle of the day, and also using platforms such as WeChat, the social media platform widely used in China, which really helped with the communication on the project. I think there's such a wealth of interesting artists creating work in China at this moment in time, and such unique work that's being developed against what is a complex socio-political backdrop in China. I would really urge other UK organisations to pursue working in China and to overcome what might be the fears over the practical challenges, because it really is worthwhile and beneficial. I would also say that trust and mutual respect are really important, and also effective communication. And if you can get those foundations right, then you'll find that a lot of the Chinese partners that we've worked with, at least, have been very supportive and very interested in showing their artist work within a UK context.